Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. I hope that we are all doing okay. We've been having a very packed day with some beautiful, beautiful sessions. Very excited to see you all here. Thank you for coming to our inspirational hub for this extra session. My name is Pepe Calhães. I am from the Brazilian landscapes of the Cerrado, which are the Brazilian savanna. This is a dry land that is currently leading on deforestation rates within my country. So trying to take some space here to also bring some awareness to the reality of this threatened landscape. I am very, very excited to welcome you all here to this inspirational hub. We're here to talk a bit. Sorry, can we hear? Yes. About the experience of young people leading some transformative efforts in their own landscapes from around the world. I am happy to welcome a crew of friends here who will be joining us to talk a bit about their experience both in policymaking and restoration and in ecopreneurship. I know that some of our speakers are a bit late, so I would just welcome in the meanwhile the ones who are already here. So I'm happy to welcome Anneli Bustos to the stage. Please, a round of applause. Anneli is the coordinator at the Monte Alegre Foundation and biodiversity lead at Nativas Climate Tech. Great to have Anneli here, a personal friend we love. Zuhura Ahmad is also here. Please let's give her a round of applause. Zuhura is the global ambassador and member of a global storytelling community at Youth for Nature. And later on, we'll be counting with the presence of Mary Claire Graf, co-founder of the Youth Negotiators Academy, and Federico Perez, co-founder and CEO of Selvitas. So, I would like to just start this session before we pass on to the experience of our friends who are gathered here on the stage to talk a little bit about some figures, considering that we are talking on a finance-driven event. So, if we could go to the next slide, please. I'm not sure. Oh, this is me. Sorry. There we go. Cool. So this is a very shocking figure that I would like to introduce to all of you. Only around 0.76% of grants from major climate foundations go to youth-led initiatives. This means that only about $14.2 million per year are going to young people who are trying to lead transformative approaches towards their territories and landscapes. Just to reach 1% of the total of climate grants, an additional $4.5 million would be needed. This is a very feasible number, and this is a very feasible request, considering how young people not only are leading innovative work, but also are leading very community-driven work on their landscapes. With this in mind, I'm happy to introduce you to our speakers for today again. We will get started with a major focus on restoration work, which will be represented by both Anneli and Zuhura. And hopefully, in a second, we will be joined by a couple of other speakers who will be talking about policymaking and also ecopreneurship. We will now move ahead with one of the main priorities for the region of Latin America, which currently champions the rates of biodiversity loss worldwide. And this is why we are so keen in talking about ecosystem restoration. I am now very happy to introduce one of our former restoration stewards and current GLFX chapters, Anneli Bustos, to share a bit of her experience as a young person leading science-driven restoration in Argentina. So please a warm welcome again. Nice, nice, nice. Yes, yes, yes. Fun. Cool. Anneli, the floor is yours. Yeah, I'll pass you the mic. Yes. Oh, there we go.
Hello? Okay. So thank you, Pe, for the kind introduction. Since this panel is about biodiversity, financing, and youth, and I will try to bring all that together and as meaningfully and beautiful way, and in 5 minutes. So let's see what happened. So there's a lot of talk about investing in youth, and I would like to explore or share what are my thoughts about what that exactly means. So from my perspective, investing in youth can be represented by two words, and those words are common sense. And here's why. First, because it is a moral obligation to include young people today in decisions related to climate and nature protection. Because the younger a person is today, the more time they will have to experience the consequences of climate change and biodiversity loss during their lifetime. Including those young voices today ensures that the adults of tomorrow are already prepared, engaged, and acting for their presence. For the same reason, it is also wise to involve them, as they will be the ones making decisions in the future, decisions that will affect us all. Some things which I believe are starting to happen gradually, but needed to be reinforced, include the formalization and the professionalization of the green jobs and valuing skills that have not historically been appreciated, for example, the soft skills. And ultimately, having more voices at the forefront of actions is also have more biodiversity. Finally, on this topic, we are here in Cali at an event where we are setting ourselves a huge challenge in terms of biodiversity. We are committing to protecting 30% of ecosystems by 2030 to help our planet's balance and its life support systems. So to meet this challenge, we need as many people as possible actively working, and the new generations will be in this key role. So moving to another topic now, the financing topic, which is really discussed in this event. One of the guiding questions I received for this session was, if you could influence one major change in how we approach biodiversity funding, what would it be? Why? So when thinking about the public sector and the government, it is clear that biodiversity must be a priority in each country, but that's what this scope is supposed to achieve. So we will see by the end of this event what happens with the public sector. But on the other hand, from the perspective of the private sector, which is, in my view, a key player in this process, I believe that before proposing to a company, a bank, or philanthropic fund to invest in nature to regenerate biodiversity, there is a crucial exercise to undertake, and is to ask if they truly understand, if they have quantified just how much their activities depend on biodiversity or depend on nature. Other question is if they really know how much their operations rely on a regulated climate, on the presence of pollinators, on the water provisions, on the pest control, or, for example, how much does nature enhance the mental health of their employees. This exercise could apply to any sector because fundamentally 100% of our economies depend on nature. Not 50, not 60, 100%. In this way, the justification for why it is necessary to finance biodiversity regeneration becomes self-evident to anyone within this chain. And this way also, this idea of including nature as an asset that ensures the maintenance of the productive activities makes much more sense and will enable real and strong nature-positive economies and objectives. So the last I want to share is that while numerous metrics and mechanisms are being developed at a technical level to measure biodiversity as holistically and comprehensively as possible, in all its dimensions, the genetic, the species level, the landscapes level, I think it would be incredible if financing also capture and support the cultural biodiversity of each ecosystem and region worldwide. Because this cultural biodiversity aspect is intimately linked to ecological biodiversity, and in my opinion is crucial to achieve the global goals we have set for the upcoming years and decades. And finally, because it would place us human within this accounting for biodiversity rather than as something external to us. Maybe that way we begin to understand that we are also nature and we can act accordingly. Thank you so much.
A round of applause to Anali. Thank you so much, Anali. Yes. Cool. Better. Yeah. Cool. Thank you so much. And now I'm also just going to take a moment to welcome Mary Claire Graff, co-founder of the Youth Negotiators Academy, who is here and will be sharing a bit of her knowledge of policy making with us. But before we go ahead with Mary Claire, I think that we could just stick around a bit more in this world of restoration. So with that, I'm very, very excited to pass on the word to one expert in African continent, who will be talking a bit about how young people are acting as catalyzers in the transformation of their communities by directly involving them in the process of restoring their landscapes. And with this, I am very, very happy to pass on the word to our friend Zuhura, who will be sharing a bit of her experience as a young African leader. Zuhura, the floor is yours. Thanks. Yes. Hi. Okay. Could we please put on the slides? Yes, please. I'll just move to sit down as well for the benefit of feng shui of our stage here. In the meanwhile, yeah, let's see. Okay, I see a logo. Please bear with us. I'm not sure, Zuhura, if... Sure, please go ahead. And if you'd like to start introducing yourself while we go for the slides, that would be wonderful. Thanks a bunch.
Thank you. So, hi everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Zura Ahmed. I'm the Global Ambassador to Youth for Nature. Youth for Nature is a youth-led international organization that educates, equip, and establish youth as the leaders on a system-wide solutions that rooted with ecological and climate crisis and grounded in intergenerational justice. And I am so happy to be here today to share the work that we have been doing on our on-ground project in Kenya, and we are really looking forward to scaling up to other African countries, but also to extending it to even the global South in general.
I'm sorry, Zuhura. I think that our team is having a bit of technical issues with your slides. If we could proceed, that would be great. Thank you and sorry.
Okay. So, about our on-ground project that has already started in Kenya and looking forward to scaling up in other regions in Africa and even to global South in general. And this supports youth working in tangible restoration projects with knowledge, skills, and mentorship and funding to effectively implement and scaling up the restoration projects through in-person and virtual trainings, field visits, mentorship and networking, community building, and peer learning and storytelling as well, so that they can be able to implement but also scaling up the restoration project. And investing in Africa youth leading restoration in climate and community means a lot to us. And we have been able to support some of the groups in Kenya, for example, a Big Ship organization that are focusing on mangrove restoration. But also we've been able to support the Friends of Ondiri wetlands that are conserving and managing the Ondiri wetland as the source of biodiversity and even fresh water in Kikuyu. And also we've been able to support nature and people as one in the concept of FMNR, which is Farmer Managers on Natural Regeneration. And the accomplishment, or I can say the achievement that we have been able to achieve is we have been able to support 16 youth directly with new knowledge, skills, and confidence for them to be able to actually implement the nature-based solution in the best practices. But also we've been able to produce an NBS series nature narrative in action. And also we have been able to distribute 10,000 USD to those 3 projects, which are among them are mangrove restoration, wetland conservation, but also the agriculture activities, which is farmer managers and in natural regeneration. And yeah, so I can say that the approach that we have been using is evidence-based approach, that it shows that when young people are supported with resources, with finance, with platform, they can be able to making a transformative change that they want to see in their community. And that's why we've been able to support them, and because of the resources that we have, I can say a little resources that we have, we've been able to support them, and we are looking forward to partnership to see how we can scale up that project into other African regions. Yeah, and my call to action, I can say that let the government, the private sector, the international organization invest in youth-led projects, and invest in youth-led projects with money. Thank you so very much.
Incredible. Oh, there we go. A big round of applause for Zuhura, all the way from Tanzania, to share this beautiful experience of the Inuka project. Cool. So I think that now that we have delved a bit more within this world of restoration, I think that it's time for us to move to one of the main reasons many of us are here in Cali now, which is policymaking, no? And how we can appropriately involve young people in meaningful and impactful policy making that is also directed by preparation and knowledge. So I'm very happy to pass on the word to our dear friend, Mary Claire, who will share a bit about the importance of financially enabling the participation of young people, particularly those from most affected and marginalized communities, to meaningfully engage in policy spaces. So yes, Mary Claire, the floor is yours. If you want to get up, yes.
I think I will sit. Well, thank you so much first for being here and for this wonderful and beautiful stage in the midst of nature. I'm very grateful, to be welcomed here. And so just to start with this. So yes, my name is Marie Claire, and I'm the co-founder of an organization which has it in its heart to enable young people to take part in policy making. And I think it's really crucial for when we talk about investing in young people for 2 reasons. Because first, I think we need to invest in the diversity of young people with diverse ways. And one of them is in financial investment. And of course, young people can actually be here, sit at the tables and make their voices heard where it actually matters. But also invest in their capacity building, invest in their community building, their networks, invest in the advocacy overarching that young voices actually matter in decision-making processes, that young people can actually change and steer the conversations. So I think there is quite a bunch to explore when we're talking about investing in young people. And on the other hand, I also think it's so crucial that we as young people actually have the ability in an intergenerational way to decide how investments are done for the future. Because currently, it's a bunch of more senior people who are investing how the future is financed, which basically means that our voices are excluded, and you very beautifully also alluded how you are doing this. And I think it's so important that we are not kind of scrambling for the extra and do a little bit of youth here, but actually that we are part of the mainstream discussions on how the finance is right now distributed. Here, when we talk about biodiversity, later when some of us are going to be in Baku for the climate negotiations, and even later when some of us are going to be in Saudi Arabia, Riyadh, where the convention on combating desertification, I prefer to say for the land, is meeting, where we again discuss how finance is going and who is receiving the finance. And unfortunately, there is tons of statistic out there that young people, women and the most affected communities get the least finance, and that's just fundamentally wrong when we're seeing what is happening. So the Youth Negotiators Academy was co-founded by 4 women from Asia and Europe with this aim to bring young people to the tables as real decision makers, and not just a decoration, not a photo opportunity, not the ones who are taking the notes and so on, but actually being there to make their voices heard in these processes, to ensure that the voices and desires and dreams of young people are making their way and shaping the future and also the current stage of policy making. And so we have been starting 3 years ago, and we had no idea where it's going to end up. And actually, I'm really proud to say that we have been really kind of going from these few young people here and there to a whole movement of young people. This year, we trained over 400 young negotiators from 80 countries. This is 40% of all the member states of all the countries in the world. And it's so beautiful to see that wherever we go now, we kind of like find these young people like who are part of the decision-making process and who are shaping the policies right now, and also what the panel, like if the young people, we always call the young people the future leaders, but they're actually like right here, right now, making the decisions right now, which then impact the future. And I think that's so important when we are in this moment of kind of a culmination of so many different crises, that we are not just pushing the young people like, oh, you can do something in the future, but you can actually like change so much right now, and we need it so desperately, this change right now. So how we are working is that we are working with the countries directly who put the delegations together to go to these international conferences, and we convince them very kindly that they should include young people. And we're going to help you, because we don't want to tick the box exercise where it's just like, oh, I have this young person, you know, and they are making me coffee every morning and taking notes. That's not the point of youth engagement. So we are actually running an academy which builds the capacity and invests in young people in the sense of that they understand how these processes work, how the negotiations work, what is on the agenda, how do you actually negotiate, how do you deal with the very kind of the system which is like sometimes so draining and so intimidating. I don't know if you have been in these halls. How do we as young people actually can effectively and meaningfully be engaged? We also invest a lot in the community building and the networking, as very often it's not about what you know, but actually who you know, and if this who is actually able to respond to you in the right moment. So we build a community amongst them, the 400 negotiators, and break out of these silos and the division we are seeing, like these countries against these countries, and we don't agree with these countries just for the fact that they are from another continent, which is just very stupid. But also kind of build a network amongst all of the other experts which are there for an intergenerational way of how we are leading the future. And then very important, as you mentioned, we are actually raising the funds to distribute travel and subsistence grants to all the young negotiators who are coming for these international conferences, to ensure that especially the countries on the front lines do not struggle with the financial burden, and so we can actually bring additionally young people to the delegation to support the young people and also the country's ability to be continuously engaged. And then we do a lot of advocacy as well to really ensure that the voices of young people are not an add-on or not just something for the future, but actually done like here, right now. And we do this through all the Rio conventions. So we started with the climate negotiations, then we went to the land negotiations, and at this COP here, we are launching the one on biodiversity. So hopefully next year we have even more young people being engaged in the decision-making structures to invest in the current generations of young people and all their dreams and hopes right away. So that's it from my side.
Incredible. Thank you, Mary Claire. This is very, very cool. I really like how we have the opportunity as young people to break apart from traditional financial models and to kind of like set aside something that fits our own needs and the planet's changing needs for now. This is incredible. Thank you so much. I will just quickly pass on the word to our friend Federico, who just made it. Hi, Federico. Federico Perez is also from beautiful Colombia, and he's the founder and CEO at Selvitas. And he'll take us a bit on a bit of a travel in the world of ecopreneurship. So Federico has turned some very interesting ecological ideas into successful business ventures, which are coincidentally youth-led. And so I know, Federico, that you have brought us a video to share. I just want to double check with the organization if we're good on time for the video. Are we? Are we still on time? Yes, cool. Okay, so Bruno, could you please put on the video? And then I'll pass on the word to Federico. Thanks a bunch.
Thank you, Per.
Yeah, I see our slides still.
Okay, there you go.
Perfect.
Sound. Need sound. Sound.
Can we check for sound, please? Maybe pause the video in the meanwhile? This happens, you guys. It's just a process. Right, we have subtitles, but I guess it would be ideal to... Oh, there. Okay, can we get back from?
Sierra Nevada de Santa Marta, entre muchos otros. He visto sus huellas frescas, sus heces y restos. He buscado el jaguar desde hace más de 15 años. He hecho expediciones a los lugares más remotos y biodiversos de Colombia, como Amazonas, Putumayo, Caquetá, Guaviare, Guainía, El Chocó, Sierra Nevada de Santa Marta, entre muchos otros. He visto sus huellas frescas, sus heces y restos de sus presas. He escuchado historias de indígenas y campesinos que han tenido un encuentro directo con él. Pero yo nunca lo he visto. Un día recibí noticias sobre avistamientos frecuentes de jaguares en el Magdalena Medio. No me lo esperaba en absoluto. Aunque esta región fue en algún momento tan biodiversa como el Amazonas, hoy en día la agricultura extensiva, la deforestación y las economías extractivistas no parecen darle tregua. A pesar de todo, decidí sumergirme en este territorio. Y para mi sorpresa, encontré increíbles remanentes de ecosistemas naturales que aún domina el rey de la selva. Los rastros del jaguar fueron un chispazo para emprender proyectos de regeneración y abrir una luz de esperanza para la vida en un territorio tan maltratado como el Magdalena Medio.
Wow, can we please stop? And a round of applause for the beautiful video. Very nice. Now let's go for Federico. The floor is yours.
Yeah, thanks, Pe. I really appreciate it. So this one is our latest project, which is still in the making. And it's being able to think how you can tackle it from an interdisciplinary way on how we want to restore and conserve tropical forest landscapes. So as an entrepreneur that has worked in the youth space for a while, you really start understanding the systemic aspect and how it's not only planting trees or working with a social impact perspective, is being able to really show what's going on in these areas. And after visiting and attending the Jackson Wild Summit in Wyoming in the US, where people from like National Geographic, Discovery Channel just meet up and tell their stories, I was really inspired. And many of these people were youth that besides like being able to tell in a panel what we're doing, like when you speak like one-to-one and understand how this kind of videos can reach people's emotions and be able to deliver a different way of changing a behavior, either if it's one person, a policymaker, or the general audience. So this is kind of where we want to do it. And then just coming back to what we're doing in Selvitas, also working in conserving the tropical, the jaguar corridors near Medellin, Colombia. And it has been an incredible journey. What comes next is being able to understand the ecology, create a baseline around what are the real metrics and how we're able to properly measure the impact that's going to go through this the projects we want to achieve. Because it's very easy to just go and talk with the communities and make them sign papers and create your carbon project, but that would be greenwashing. So it's really kind of a different approach, and that's why in the moment I'm doing my studies in environmental management and working with amazing researchers at the Yale School of Environment to be able to effectively do a high quality and an integral project that includes equity and all sorts of diversity. But I really my work has really been impacted through the different engagements in the youth space. So, for example, before going to the COP28, I was seeing Marie Claire's videos on the Youth Negotiator Academy, and really being able to inspire others. So thank you, Pe, for this opportunity, and I really look forward to collaborating in the future.
Bravo! A round of applause. Yes, this was great, Federico. Thank you so much. Federico is very, very inspiring in his leadership. I'll just give a brief shout out that we are all kind of involved with the GLF in one way or another here. And yeah, we have from degrees of volunteers, members of the Youth Landscapes Initiative, close friends. So before we can wrap up our youth session for the Inspirational Hub, I am wondering if we have any questions that we would like to ask. Please don't be shy. Anyone? Yes, I see Jenna there. Thanks a bunch.
Super. Thank you so much for this nice session. It's a bit weird to hear my voice with a delay, so that's why I paused. I just wanted to ask each of you what you felt like was the key argument when you were convincing a funder that young people were the ones who should do this work and not someone who with 10, 20, 30, 40 years more experience.
Great. Do we have any other questions before we pass it back to our speakers? Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much for all those presentations, really amazing. I was wondering, for those of us who are not youth anymore, what can we do to support the work that you're doing?
Incredible. I think that we can close with these two. Are we happy to do a round? And we can just pass on the mic? Sure? Okay, cool. There you go.
On the first question around the donors, so I think like it's a lot about the story and about kind of like the new inputs, because the system, especially in policy making, is pretty stuck because of people who have been here for the last 30 years. And I think bringing in more diversity and working in a more inclusive manner can really bring us out of where we are like also seeing a lot of like being stuck in the policy-making world. So I think that's what is appealing to the donors. And maybe this also goes to the second question on how everyone can support. Ultimately, we advocate for intergenerational leadership, which includes younger generations and even kids who are younger than I am, right? And I think that's where everyone can come in. So wherever position you're on, like how can you ensure that the voice of young people from a diverse background, not just kind of the cherry-picked ones, are actually heard and bring them to the room. But yeah, happy to chat later.
Thank you so much. Could you go ahead? Okay, Zuhura, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much. And for the first question, when approaching funders for the youth project, and what kind of the argument, I think you need to align your project with funders' goal. Just explain how your project will, like how your project align with the funders' mission, vision, and all of that. But also, how is your project is aligned with empowerment of those youth, or if you are working with youth, or if you are working with community. And also, it should be a community-led solution, because we actually know that we are working with community. So the project that you are doing should be a benefit, or it should be having the core benefit between community and even the livelihood that they are living. And for the second question,
How can not non-youth support our work?
how can
Older people support you.
Okay, so I think for the other people, maybe to support the youth, we really need to know that youth have power, have voice, have capacity. So if you know how to mentor them, please do. If you know how you can connect them with potential stakeholders, please do. If you can be able even to invest in terms of finance, in terms of resources, in terms of tools that they need to unlock their potential, so kindly do that.
And then finally, I would say first energy. Like when you go to the sort of events, like it's incredible how much young people do, but at the same time being able to have fresh perspectives. So for example, as much as like technology is changing right now, you see now, let's say with artificial intelligence, there's always something new, and bring that fresh mind, and how even year to year you will have kind of a new trend. So as someone that has worked in the venture capital space, this is something that's very valuable, and that I've seen increases kind of the ability of you to leverage this kind of innovation set, and then be able to effectively fundraise. And for the second one, like this answer was amazing. It has everything, so I double on that.
Great. With this, we're going to start wrapping up our session for today. I think that we have a couple of key takeaways, but maybe I'll just leave with a reminder that young people are an intersection amongst so many other aspects of the human experience. We are standing in the map in between race, class, gender, sexuality, and this is just one of the many aspects that has to be involved in the consolidation of this world that benefits both people and nature that we are here trying to construct. There we go. So I would thank everyone for participating in the session today. A big round of applause to our beautiful speakers. Yes, yes, yes. Beautiful applause. Nice, nice, nice. Let's just remember that you are at the heart of driving meaningful change. And with that, let's go ahead with the next items of our agenda. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, thank you.